Welcome back to A Hush Hideaway. Today we're going to dive into something you probably have heard about, maybe even had nightmares of as a child, a very popular creature that has haunted families for centuries. Originating all the way back from Irish mythology, the lore, the legend, the Banshee. Her cry, her scream, her wail, her howl is stuff of legends. Quite literally. But first things first, for those that might not know, what is a banshee? A ghost, a demon, a fairy, a spirit, a wraith. In a word, yes. It could be considered many things, but in short, let me try to explain. Okay, it might not be short, but let me try anyway. So a banshee is a supernatural being from Gaelic Celtic folklore that takes the form of a shrieking, sometimes singing woman, often associated with particular families who heralds the death of a family member. And if that sound isn't ominous enough, pun intended, if you do see her, sometimes she's been accounted for having long flowing hair, streaming hair, in which she may be seen combing. Some legends specify that she can only keen while combing her hair. Others have said that she wears gray cloak over green dress with eyes of red from continual weeping. Others have also stated her being dressed in white with red hair, giving off a ghastly complexion. The size of a banshee is also another physical feature that differs between regions. Some account of her standing as a typical sized woman, others of her standing unnaturally tall, but most account of her being fairly short, anywhere between 1 foot to 4 feet. Her exceptional shortness often goes alongside the description of her being an old woman, though it may also emphasize her state as a fairy creature. Okay, sometimes the banshee assumes a form of a sweet singing virgin of the family who died young and has been given a mission by the invisible powers to become the harbinger of coming doom to her mortal kindred. Which doesn't sound so scary. Or some say they have seen her at night as a shrouded woman crouched beneath the tree, lamenting with a veiled face, possibly even flying past in the moonlight, crying bitterly. Spooky. But the cry of the spirit, if you were to hear it, is mournful beyond all other sounds on earth, and betokens a certain death to a family member whenever it is heard on a silent night. So in Irish tradition, the banshee could also have been believed to be a remnant of the reign of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Now, side note real fast, there's going to be a lot of names in this folklore that I'm going to try my best to pronounce right. If I do not get it exactly right, I do apologize, but I will be trying my best. Okay, so the gods of Ireland who were defeated and driven underground by the invading Milesians, who represented the arrival of Celtic culture, each member of the Tuatha Dé Danann subsequently went on to occupy a mound or hill known as a she. Thus, the once gods became known as the Ashi, meaning the people of hills, and were regulated to fairy status. The quote, as by an Irish poet, W.B. Yeats, "The pagan gods of Ireland, the Tuatha Dé Danann, robbed of worship and offerings, grew smaller and smaller in the popular imagination until they turned into fairies." This was from a fairy and folklore tale of the Irish peasantry in 1888. But again, it's impossible to deny or ignore the similar characterizations of a banshee as a ghost or spirit. Typically an ethereal, wispy, semi-transparent female phantom. So a book by the name of Irish Wonders, published also in 1888 by an author of D.R. McKinley Jr., has an excerpt that strips the mythology away from the folklore. It reads, "The Banshee is really a disembodied soul, that of one who in life was strongly attached to the family, or had a good reason to hate all of its members. The Banshee is of the spirits who look with interested eyes on earthly doings, and deeply attached to the old families, or, on the contrary, regarding all their members with hatred beyond that known to mortals, lingers about their dwellings to soften or aggravate the sorrow of approaching death." So that one, they can either come and try to help you and warn you and lighten the blow of death, or try to make it 10 times worse for you. Ugh. Or perhaps, if we're trying to explain what the Banshee really are, or what their origin is, why don't we take what we learn from both of them and try to combine the two, the divine with the spectral? Hear me out. So, what is the Banshee? Imagine if it was originally imagined as the ghost of a goddess of the Tua Didanan. Okay, a powerful goddess associated with life and death in cemeteries, and regarded as the inventor of the high-pitched singing style, the keening, that has been a big piece in the Banshee lore. Well, maybe the Banshee originally wasn't just a harbinger of death, but a goddess who had power of life and death itself. Stick with me. Some of you may have already had an idea of who I'm talking about, but let me explain. So the Irish goddess of poetry and fertility, and the inventor of keening, Brigid. As daughter of Dagda, father of gods, Brigid holds an exalted position among the Tua Didanan. Her cult was significant, and her Irish worshippers held one of their 4 quarter-day feasts, their major holidays, in her honor, Imbolc. Okay. From the published The Story We Carry in Our Bones, Irish History for Americans by Julian Osborne McKnight, describes the Brigid Imbolc connection a little bit better than maybe I could. So it reads, because lambs are the origin of the holiday, it was dedicated to Brigid Anu Dana, the three-faceted goddess and protector of everything creative. It goes on to say, in ancient times, it was believed that she would visit and bless the hearth of people leaving her footprints in the ashes. So we have a goddess known for her sorrowful singing and known for making house calls. But you're probably thinking, Brigid is to bless the hearth and bring fertility, as that of Banshees is to haunt hearths and welcome death. Pretty much the complete opposite. But hear me out. What if something happened, like an event, that could have turned Brigid to the proverbial dark side, to a Banshee? Okay, so during the Second Battle of Modera, in which the Tua Didanan fought the loathsome Fomori, also the Fomorians, Brigid's son fell in battle. Upon discovering her son's body on the battlefield, Brigid, heartbroken, sing-cried a poetic lament commemorating his life. This is how Keen was born, and perhaps it's how the Banshee was born as well. Now, who do Banshees actually visit? Should you be on the lookout for a wailing woman outside your window sometime in the future? Well, if you're worried about the incoming visit of the spine-chilling banshee, alas, you're probably immune, unless, of course, you're Irish. But not just Irish. You heard me say old families before, but let me try to explain this one. In Irish folklore, it dictated banshees will only attach themselves to members or descendants of Ireland's oldest families, or families of pure Milesian stock, and never ascribed to any descendant of the proudest Norman or boldest Saxon, to quote the Scottish poet and novelist Sir Walter Scott. So yeah, there's this whole like blood purity and ancestry component to the lore. The Milesians were the last race of invaders to settle in Ireland, conquering the Tuatha De Danann, sending them underground. So yeah, if you caught on, the Milesians, the forerunners to Ireland's modern human population, were responsible for literally and figuratively burying the goddess Brigid and her divine kin, turning them less than gods into just fairies. It's possible it's Brigid holding a grudge. I mean, I know I would. Folklore also tells us that banshees are the ultimate grudge holders. So one account recorded was that of Lady Fanshawe. Her and her husband were visiting the house of Lady Honora O'Brien. Having one night, Lady Fanshawe retired to the bedroom they were staying in to rest and sleep. She was awakened by about 1 o'clock in the morning to a noise outside of the windows. When she arose and opened the curtains, there, by the light of the moon, was a female figure leaning in through the open casement. She describes her as having like a ghastly complexion, long red hair, and enveloped in a white gown. She's said to have explained that she uttered a couple words in a loud, strange tone, and then, with a sigh, resembling the rush of a wind, she disappeared. Now, the next morning, she related all of what happened the night before to the lady of the house and what she had seen, and yet the news was received with no remarks of surprise. The lady of the house instead explained. My cousin, she said, whose ancestors owned this house, died at 2 o'clock this morning. And, as in the case with the rest of the family, the banshee was heard wailing every night during his sickness. The lady of the house putting her and her husband in the room because of its comfortability, not thinking anything of it at the time, she continues. The individual spirit who haunts this branch of the O'Briens is supposed to be the ghost of a woman who was seduced, possibly with child, and murdered in the garden of this house by an ancestor of the gentleman who died this morning. He flung her body into the river under the window, so the voice and appearance of this wailer causes more terror than those of other spirits, with whose grief there is no blending of revenge. Okay, so we know about banshees, what they think they might be, but where there's strengths, there has to be weaknesses, right? Well, some believe that might be true for banshees as well. One of them being them possibly being susceptible to fire and explosives. Additionally, a weapon made of pure gold has the ability of harming or even killing a banshee, according to others. Some sources suggest that a simple banshee banishing spell can effectively remove a banshee, while others recommend using a Celtic blood trapping spell to confine them. Now, that won't actually kill them, but it can trap them. So whether you're relieved that a banshee visit is unlikely or bummed you may never be able to hear one for yourself, if you're the latter, I may have some good news. possibly disturbing news for the former. Because banshees can travel. So, banshees that have attached themselves to the most ancient of Irish families will travel when, and only when, those families do. Still, if some of the old families move to the States, or to Australia, or Asia, or so on, well, there you go. Thanks to Irish diaspora, banshees can be all over the world. So whether you live in Ireland or somewhere else entirely, travel close to home or far abroad, next time you're lying in bed and you hear something out your window, something out of the ordinary, followed by a faint, sorrowful cry, maybe even a shrieking scream, don't be too quick to just blame the wind. Okay, today's word is mawkish. Mawkish meaning sentimental in an exaggerated or false way, or having a faint, sickly flavor. I know, kind of gross, but the word is of Old Norse in origin. So do you know kind of the feeling of being so uncomfortable that you squirm in your chair? Well, in Middle English, mock meant maggot, giving mawkish an awkward connotation. The original usage of the word in mid-17th century meant related to sickness. But today, when something's uncomfortable or embarrassing, or you think you don't have any words for it, pull out the word mawkish. And on a secondary usage, mawkish applies to flavors. Anything faintly sick tasting can be called mawkish. So this week's fragment of fixation is a gaming light-up mini refrigerator I found on Amazon. So it's small enough to fit in almost any gaming area, but large enough to hold about 6 cans of your favorite drink or snack. And if you're anything like me and you hate having to go somewhere else, or for me, I have to go all the way up the stairs just to get a drink if I'm working or gaming or whatever I am doing that I'm having to be at my computer. I hate having to go so far for it. This would be so worth it for me. It also has an awesome LED, like dimmable lighting with multiple different lighting choices. There are multiple different brands to choose from, but I am particular to this one by the brand of Beicchen, Beichen. It works as a heater and a cooler, has an AC/DC portable options if you decide you need it in long trips, and has an ultra quiet operation, making it not too overpowering anywhere you put it, so it won't be super loud. Its running price is about $60, but it's on sale right now on Amazon for $45.99. I plan to get it, and when I do, I'll be sure to update everyone on the newsletter with a picture and how I like it and whatnot. With that being said, make sure to give us a follow so you never miss an episode. Like and share, and leaving a good review is also always greatly appreciated. Make sure to check out our website and subscribe for our monthly newsletter for all our most up-to-date information, and follow us on all our other socials. We are on most social media websites. Just type in a hushed hideaway, or you can follow our links through our website, and it's just as easy as one click. Until next story.